In today's video, we are going to be answering the question, can you eat too much fat on the keto diet? The keto diet is a way of eating that is high in fat and low in carbs. But is it possible to eat too much fat following this way of eating? And if you are trying to lose weight, is it better to eat less fat so you can burn stored body fat instead? The type of fat we eat matters. It is possible to eat too much of the wrong type of fat. And spoiler alert, when I say the wrong type of fat, I'm not talking about saturated fat. So in today's video, we are going to answer these questions and talk about how much fat you should be eating on the keto diet. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kate. I'm a health coach and I post videos on a high-fat, nutrient-dense way of eating. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, feel free to share, and make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where I share new posts every single day. Today's video is sponsored by Adapted Nutrition. For electrolyte supplements specifically formulated for the keto diet and intermittent fasting, head to healthcoachkate.com/electrolytes and use code HCK10 to save 10% off your order. Today we are going to be talking about fat and how much you should be eating on the keto diet. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say that we really need to shift our mindset from this mainstream narrative that fat is bad. Fat is an essential macronutrient, and consuming enough of it is critical for our health. It is important for many reasons. It gives us energy. We can either get energy from glucose, which is carbs, or in its absence from fat. It forms our cell membranes, our brains, and our nervous system. It is needed for the transport and absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. It is necessary to make and balance hormones, primarily sex hormones, and it gives us two essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. And for decades, we have been told that fat is bad for us and that we should be limiting it. But limiting fat does not decrease your disease risk, and it does not even necessarily lead to weight loss. In fact, limiting fat can have the opposite effect. So this video today, it's not a fat fear-mongering video, don't worry. But with that being said, I am often asked if it is possible to be eating too much fat on keto, specifically when it comes to weight loss. If you're trying to lose body fat, should you be consuming less fat so your body can burn through your fat stores instead? These are questions I'm frequently asked, so let's talk about it. When you're first starting keto. So when you're first starting the keto diet, I really think it's important to not put any limitations on the amount of fat you eat. The first reason why I say this is because, as I mentioned earlier, so many of us have this fear of fat drilled into our heads. If you've ever went on any diet in the past that wasn't keto, there's a very high chance that it was a diet that limited fat. So there will be a big learning curve and mindset shift that has to take place when you are first starting keto. The other reason is because your body is becoming fat adapted. And while it switches from burning mainly glucose for energy to burning mainly fat for energy, you might feel a little bit off. And you really want to make sure that you are consuming enough fat during this time. Eating the right fat. Now, before we get into the amount of fat that is ideal, we really need to talk about the different types of fat. So there are two main types of fat, saturated fat and unsaturated fat. And the difference between the two comes down to their structure. Saturated fat has all carbons bonded to hydrogens, making them straight and able to pack together tightly. Unsaturated fat is missing some hydrogens, which means they are bent and not able to pack together as tightly. Because saturated fats can pack together tightly, they are solid at room temperature, whereas unsaturated fats are liquid. Think about coconut oil versus olive oil. Coconut oil is mainly saturated fat, whereas olive oil is mainly unsaturated fat. But why does this matter? And why do you care? You might be asking. This is important because the more missing hydrogens, the more fragile the fat is. And the more fragile the fat is, the more likely it is to oxidize when exposed to heat, light, and oxygen. Oxidized fats are extremely harmful to the body. When we consume them, they cause free radical damage and oxidative stress. In layman's terms, you have a whole bunch of dangerous particles that are set loose in your body. They start damaging your DNA, your fatty tissues, and proteins. Oxidative stress can cause heart disease, hypertension, hardening of the arteries, neurodegenerative diseases, cancer, and also aging. You can also be exposed to free radicals through cigarette smoke, pesticides, radiation, and pollution. Everyone knows how harmful these things are for the body, but consuming oxidized fats can cause the same damage. So, contrary to everything you've probably ever heard about fat, saturated fat is actually the one you want to be consuming, especially when you are using it in an isolated form for cooking. Now, under the umbrella of unsaturated fat, there are two types: monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. Mono has only one carbon missing, a hydrogen bond, and poly has more than 4. So fats that are mainly polyunsaturated are the least heat stable, whereas monounsaturated falls somewhere in the middle. So when you are eating whole foods, I don't think you need to focus too much on the types of fats you are consuming. But when it comes to the fats that you're cooking with, or if you are consuming a lot of packaged foods in your diet, this is extremely important. We already discussed why cooking with saturated fat is best. So this means using coconut oil, ghee, tallow, and lard, and avoiding oils such as canola, grapeseed, soybean, corn, and vegetable oil in general. Olive oil and avocado oil are both also good. They are mainly monounsaturated fat, but they are better to be used at low temperatures or just consumed raw. And I already know I'm going to get some comments about this down below, so I'll just address it now. Yes, avocado oil has a high smoke point, but the smoke point of an oil is not the same temperature as the point that the fat will oxidize. Grapeseed oil is another example of this. Yes, it has a high smoke point, but it oxidizes at a very low temperature. But now let's talk about packaged foods, because a lot of the ones on the market, even if they are labeled keto, are packed with the unhealthy oils that cause oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. And seriously, consuming these oils in high amounts can completely derail your progress. And if you are worried about saturated fat, raising your cholesterol, causing heart disease, both of these claims are a myth. I have a video explaining why there's confusion surrounding this, which I will link above if you want to know more. Saturated fat actually increases HDL cholesterol, which is the type that is protective and you want more of. People who eat low-fat diets often have low HDL because of this. Now, before we get into whether or not you can eat too much fat on the keto diet, I'm going to take a quick moment to thank today's sponsor, Adapted Nutrition. Electrolytes are very important on any version of a low-carb diet, including keto. When you are eating fewer carbohydrates, your body retains less water and also less electrolytes. Electrolytes are important for regulating nerve and muscle function, balancing blood pressure, regulating heart contractions, maintaining fluid balance, and more. Especially when you are first starting keto, it is critical to make sure your electrolytes are in check. A large part of why people experience the keto flu comes down to an imbalance of electrolytes. And making sure you are getting enough is easy with Adapted Nutrition. Adapted Nutrition is committed to providing simple, science-based hydration products from natural sea minerals. A lot of electrolyte supplements on the market do not even contain a significant amount of electrolytes and are filled with sugar, fillers, and artificial ingredients, all of which are unnecessary and sometimes harmful. Adapted Nutrition's Keto K1000 electrolyte powder was specifically formulated for the keto diet. It will not break a fast, and it will not kick you out of ketosis. If you want to check it out, you can head to healthcoachkate.com/electrolytes and use code HCK10 at checkout to save 10% off your order. Thank you again to Adapted Nutrition for sponsoring this video. Can you eat too much fat? All right, so now let's finally answer the question. As we already discussed, consuming too much unsaturated fat and polyunsaturated fat specifically can cause inflammation. And not only can this lead to disease, but this can also hinder weight loss and cause inflammatory issues such as joint pain and gut issues. So you can definitely consume too much oxidized polyunsaturated fat, but what about fat in general? The answer is yes and no. I think a lot of people on keto overconsume fat, but only because they are underconsuming protein. When you underconsume protein, you risk losing lean body mass. So this might result in a drop on the scale, but you do not want to be losing muscle mass. You want to be losing fat. And if you consume enough protein at each meal, then you are likely going to be eating less fat, and you will be able to stay full for longer between meals. I usually recommend consuming, at bare minimum, 30 grams of bioavailable protein at every meal. And if you are consuming enough protein at each meal, it's pretty difficult to overeat fat. Because, as I said, when you're eating enough protein, you'll be fuller for longer in between meals. And this is likely due to something called the protein leverage hypothesis, which states that we eat until our protein needs are met, regardless of energy content. So if we are eating just foods rich in carbs, just foods that are rich in fats, or foods that are rich in both of them, it is very easy to eat too much and not feel full. Think of fries, for example. How easy is it to overeat fries well past your energy needs? And then compare that to chicken breast. It is pretty difficult to overeat chicken breast to the same extent. So in the context of keto, if you are eating enough protein, it is very difficult to overconsume fat. But with that being said, of course it is possible. If you eat more fat than your energy needs, of course some of that is going to be stored. But honestly, prioritize protein at your meals, and I can almost guarantee this won't be an issue. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you today. So in summary, yes, you can overconsume fat, but it is very difficult if you are eating enough protein. And remember that saturated fat is the best to use when cooking. Let me know in the comment section down below if you found this video helpful, and also in the description box down below, you can find the link to check out Adaptive Nutrition and their Keto K1000 electrolyte powder. If you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy my video on cholesterol and why you might have high cholesterol on the keto diet. Whether or not you should be concerned, you can check that out here. If you want to catch up on my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you want to check out my keto diet and carnivore diet coaching programs, you can find them here. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.